Okay, hello everyone. Back again with some more tips and tricks on playing piano. Now, today I wanted to talk to you about piano practice. It's one of the most important things, and yet sometimes it's one of the most overlooked things. It's a way, the thing you usually use piano practice for is to learn something in the fastest way. So, to implement piano practice is to get something and do it in a way that it learns it really fast. So let's say we've got a piece of music and you're learning it just from start to finish, over and over again. Now, most of the time this is one of the longest ways to learn a piece of music. With piano practice, learning technique can become so much easier and so much faster, because technique is one of the hardest things to acquire, and if you don't have the proper practice methods, you may never acquire some of the technique that you need for piano. So just simple things like scales or chords in a song. Now, I could talk about this for a long time, but I'll take you through a few examples just to show you what I mean. Now, let's take the biggest times it'll come into practice is when you're learning something new and learning something that you haven't acquired the technique for yet. So let's take something like Moonlight Sonata, the third movement. So here's the beginning. Now, I'm just using these for examples. I'm not meaning to give you a full-on performance or anything like that, but in this example, now if I was to learn this song from beginning to end, I'd probably take years and years and years and never get it up to that highest standard that I'd want it at. Now, the first thing that comes into play here is learning little bits over and over again. Instead of playing the song from beginning to end over and over again until I can play it well, I take the bits that I can't play properly. So let's say I can play this first bit fine. But then when I come to this bit, I'm going all over the place, so it's just that section that I need to put some time into. So I go to hands separately. Everything you practice, especially when it comes to classical music, is done hands separately to acquire the technique. Then you can put the hands back together again. So this part I might do. So the right hand here my dogs are just singing to the music now, so I better let them finish. Now the left hand here is quite straightforward. It's fairly not too difficult technically, so that's fine. We just memorise that for the left hand so that we've got it there. The right hand, however, it's a very fast, repetitive section. Now if we take that down really slowly, and there's our notes, then we speed it up. Now this section, because it was so difficult when I was learning it, and whenever you're learning something new, you take it and break it down to the smallest part that you can't play. So if you can't play the first 3 notes, then you just practice them. And you practice them even faster than what it has to go. And then you continue until you can play the whole thing. But that's what it's about. It's breaking it down. If you can play a lot of a song, and there's only a few little bits, even half a bar that you can't play, then you just take that half a bar and you learn it perfectly. Now, there's only so much I can explain in a small video clip, but these are just some of the basics that you've got to get grasped when you're talking about piano practice. So, if you're doing it in a classical reading music way, if you take the music, now see, here's some music. Now, if you were playing most of this page fine, and you were just having trouble with the little trills in these sections, then rather than practicing the whole page, you'd just practice those little trills, and it would enable you to learn this page 50 or so times faster than it would if you were just playing it from beginning to end. So that's the essence of piano practice. It's thinking of ways to learn something the fastest possible way. So when you're learning a piece, the first thing to do is to, if you can't sight read it through, is to just take it and look at the sections, and as you go through memorizing it, another part of piano practice and proper piano practice is memorizing, because if you're reading a piece, you can't put the focus and energy into the technique that you need to acquire the new techniques that you're learning. So that's why it's important, if you want to get a piece up to performance standard with no mistakes or anything, is to memorize everything hand separately first, and from different places in the music, different sections, so that you don't have to play it from beginning to end. And then with that hand separately, you can use the memory of that to put it together and put the proper rhythms and all that sort of stuff together. Again, when you come to playing hands together, you might find most of it's fine, but then just a couple of little sections, coordinating the two hands together is difficult, so you just take those little sections and practice them up as well. Now, this is talking mostly about classical music. If we go on to more popular styles like rock, pop and blues, most of that stuff is played by ear, so piano practice isn't as evident in that type of music, but it still comes into play very much. So you might, in popular music, you might not use it for a whole piece of music, you might only use it for certain sections, because in popular music some of the stuff is quite simple and you're just playing by ear, playing with band members and jamming together. And when you learn a piece, you're not going to take the time to memorize it exactly from start to finish. You'll just play it in the way that you want to, and every time you play with a band you'll probably play a little bit differently anyway. But if there's a certain section in the song, so let's say we've got, here's a simple song here. Section, it's fairly simple, I can just play it by ear. I could make up different parts to that, no problem. But now this is a section to the song that I thought, oh, this is a nice rhythm. Now to coordinate that with two hands is very difficult, especially if the other hand's doing a different rhythm. Now, to put that together, I had to take many hours, sometimes just closing my eyes, listening to that rhythm. And playing it with the other hand to try and get it. But rather than playing the whole song again, so when it comes to popular music, you're only playing certain techniques. So with popular music, rather than playing sections or songs, using piano practice for that, you use piano practice for just acquiring certain little techniques for the songs that you're playing. So if that technique there, putting that with the other hand, and just coordinating it. And that way, you've got that technique. And if you come to a different song and you want to put that technique in a different song, then you won't have to use the piano practice methods again for a different song, because you've already got that technique. You only have to use it when you're learning new things or new techniques. Yeah, when it comes to popular music. But it is, as I say, it is more evident in classical music. Piano practice is, well, the most important part, because without it you'll never be able to get your classical pieces up to that high performance standard that you want them at. Now, that's the main thing I just wanted to let you know about, is find out about piano practice. If you've got a piano teacher, ask her, okay, have you heard any of these methods? And also download the book off the website about piano practice, as it's the best explanation in words that you can get. In the future I'll be putting down all the examples and more video. I'll take some proper video shots so you can see exactly what my hands are doing, and you can use that to accompany the piano practice book. So I'll be doing that later next month, and that way you'll have both visual and you'll have all the words you need in the book to explain everything really well. So that's just a starter anyway. I just want you to know how important it is to incorporate different practice methods to learn different things.